Hello there, theorists. Today I'm welcoming you into my bedroom as we go over Kirby and the Forgotten Lands main theme, Running Through the New World. We'll be doing a form analysis of the piece as well as some examples of melodic transformation. Let's start with the form analysis. So if we take a look at the screen here, we can see that on the right we have the sheet music itself, and on the left we have a form analysis. Going over this, we can see that there's R1 and R2 for the most part. And those are the main themes that we're going to be getting. One thing you'll notice about R1 is that it always ends with a PAC and has a half cadence in between. And every time we have an example of R1, it is a 16-bar phrase. So split up into two 8-bar phrases. Now R2 is similar in that all statements of R2 are the same. Each statement of R2 is an 8-bar melody with 4-bar phrases in between. They always end with an IAC and a half cadence respectively. So we're going to listen to the song now. Take a look through the sheet music. It's labeled with intro, R1, R2, R1 prime, everything like that. And I will list out those cadences for you when we get there. They should be circled. Here we go. This is our intro at the top. Just setting up dough. Now here's our melody in R1. 3, 4. First cadence, half cadence, and next 8 bars. Very similar melody. This would be considered a parallel period because it starts the same way that the first phrase does. And there's our PAC. Now this is R2. Here's our IC, next 4 bars. Our half cadence in 1. A 1-bar transition takes us to D major. We have a step-up modulation, which shows us R1 prime. Now this is the exact same information we've seen before, just with a little bit of variation. Half cadence, moving on. Very triumphant feeling here. Nice instrumentation. PAC. R2. IC. Landing on the half cadence. Here's our retransition into R1 double prime. And this is interesting, we actually modulate back down to C major from D major. Half cadence. Some interesting chromatic stuff going on the left hand. And there's our PAC right there, and it'll continue for like a couple measures. And then we have our 8-bar outro. And I can pause it there because this is kind of similar to the intro. One note that should change is in our form analysis, when we get to the third statement of R1 back in C major after the D major section, this final section of 8 actually should be 11 bars since this would be our 8-bar ending, but we have 9, 10, 11. It continues for a couple bars. All that's happening there is the cadential 6/4 is just taking a second before resolving back down to what our tonic is there. So this would be an extra 1 measure and then an extra 2 measures each. So we would call this 11 instead of 8. Okay, so now what we're going to do is go over some melodic transformation, and this is some of my favorite stuff in music, and in video game music especially. It opens the door for a lot of different genres to be thrown in where the melody can be transformed in different ways. So we're going to go over a very basic example of that first, which is here in Welcome Back Kirby. This is a short piece from the game where the original melody we just heard is used as a counter melody. Let's take a listen to that. So here's the main melody of the song. And then the tenor enters. And we'll stop there. Now, it might be a little hard to hear. It's very quiet in the background, but you have a restatement, kind of like a parallel period of the first melody, bum ba da bum ba da ba da ba ba da ba ba, and in the background, bum ba Ba-dum, ba, ba-da, ba, ba-da, ba. You have that statement right there of the initial melody from running through the new world, combined with this familiar melody from the Kirby video game series. Now, moving on into something else, I have taken just R1 and R2 of running through the new land and kind of just written out the chord structure and the Roman numeral structure so we can have a better idea of it. For time purposes, I'm not going to play that right now, but you can find a video of me playing through this on the Google Drive. So let's go through some interesting melody transformations. We'll make these quick. The first one is, you definitely notice that the melody of Running Through the New World is very, very happy. It's very light and it's very jaunty. It actually says with joy up there. So what if we made that spooky and scary? Well, there is a haunted house mansion or a haunted house level in Kirby and the Forgotten Land that utilizes the same melody in a different way. Let's take a look at that. This stage is called Pitch Black Valley, and the music is supposed to kind of reflect that. So I've taken the time to just transcribe the main melody here. Let's take a listen to what that sounds like. Here it is. Repeat. Ooh, a bit scary, right? A bit chilling. So if we take a look at this, we actually didn't have to do any transposition here because they really use just about the same notes. They center themselves around C for the most part. In this specific transcription, I have the transformed melody and then the original one right underneath it. You can notice for yourself some of the notes that have been altered and just the sound of it. It's slower, but it still is the exact same rhythm. Just the note changes help to enforce a kind of a new sort of sound in our music here. So this is one way that the melody was transformed by altering a couple notes, but the contour essentially is the same. Now let's go back to Running Through the New World and let's take a look at R2. I'm just going to play a bit of it. And there's our IC. IC, cause we end on mi, re, do. La, ti, do, fa, mi, re, do, ti, do, re, mi. If I can get my solfege right. What if we took that nice little that nice little eighth note line and made it something else? It's very nice in context. Now, if we take a look at the song A Quick Nap, which is a 6-second song from Kirby and the Forgotten Land, we can see R2 material listed in the transcription. It's literally 2 measures long. That's how short it is. Let's take a listen. Hopefully you could hear that melody. Ba ba da ba da ba da ba da, and the bottom. Ba ba da so do do, whatever you want to sing there. So if we look at the original material and how it compares, you can see that the melody actually is ripped right from it. La ti do fa mi re do re mi. La ti do fa mi. It's the exact same melody. And in this particular example, we have some extra little flourish notes at the end. Let's listen to that again. And 1. With that little da-ba-da-ba-da-da. And that's it's going down to make this chord an added C9 or a C add 2. And if you look at the original material, we can see that's true to how it sounds originally there. We have mi, so, do, so, mi, re, where that added second is also there in the original theme. Okay, let's go back here. Maybe you've seen what the next one looks like. Into the Fight Tree Forest, or Forbidden Lands. That actually is to say fiery, not fight tree. What if we took our melody and made it minor? That's a fun switch, right? Let's take a look at this. So this should say, enter the fiery Forbidden Lands. Now this is one cool arrangement. So I've transcribed the song as is into just solo piano here. And I also tried to put the original melody transcribed or transposed into the same key up here. It looks a little weird because the original melody is in major and this transformed melody is going to be in minor. So let's take a listen to it. I'm going to play it from the recording and we're going to try to follow along. I'll keep my cursor on screen. Here we go. Here's R1. Sounds a little more determined. Very similar between the two. Still similar. Oh, this is different. Here's R2. There's our eighth notes. Oh, it's very different. And let's pause there. So what you can notice is that for the most part, the rhythm itself is very similar. It's just some notes that are changed to make the melody fit into a more minor style. But because this is a very intense driving theme, we add some extra notes in to make it a little more interesting. So I'm going to start from R2 here. I'll play the pickups into it. And keep in mind that the top staff of the original melody has been muted for this purpose. So we're just going to be listening to the transformed melody or the transcription of the song. Just try to look at the lines themselves and see how they move. Here, I'll play just a measure before R2 so we can get into it. So these two measures here at 25 are very different from the original melody, but we can kind of see some of the rhythm. Da, 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 da. And if we look at the left hand, or I'm sorry, the alto line of the piano, ba, da, 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 like that, we can kind of see that rhythm, but then it all kind of throws into shambles once we get to measure 26. And then this emphasize here, we're actually still landing on the same cadences that we did before. This part at 28, this is our half cadence of B flat minor. Da-ba-da. And using those la ti do, or sorry, da, da, ti do re. Yeah, sorry, solfege. Using some of those lighter tones, using the raised seventh into do, even using the raised sixth in some cases, that really helps to emphasize some of the lighter changes and some of the progression of this part. Very last melodic transformation part we're going to mention is from this one called Lunch Rush, a Wave of Waddles. Now this is particularly from a mini game in the series, so it's pretty light, pretty low key, it's nothing too crazy. Let's take a listen to what this sounds like. We can see that we have R1 material, the original melody on the bottom, just giving us an idea of what it's going to sound like. Ba-da-ba, ba-da-da-ba-da-ba. I have the minor stuck in my head right now. And we can see the transformed melody is passed between the hands. So it starts in the left hand and then goes to the right hand and then right hand again, and then something changes a little bit. It's not the same. Let's listen to what this sounds like. Very fast. Okay, so we heard the ba-dum bum ba-da-da ba-da-ba. We're kind of jumping between chords here that we didn't use earlier. Earlier we were just simple 1 5 1. Yeah, easy, put it down. But this is B minor and then A and then F sharp, B minor. So we're in B minor, but it's an interesting 5-to-1 progression here. Ba-da, and we get da-dum, ba-dum, ba-da-da-da. That F sharp major, very, very nice coming in. Listen to that one more time. It's very fast too. Listen to the transcription. Oops. You're seeing the behind the screens work. I must have forgotten to mute the piano part here. So there we go. Let's try this again. Da-dum, da-dum, dum-dum-dum-dum. Very cool. Yeah, I really like that. And you can still hear the original melody from Running Through the New World in this part, which I think is super awesome. Hopefully that was a pretty cool example of how the music starts to relate. Find a video game you like and try to take a really familiar melody from it, like the Mario Bros theme, and go through some of the songs in the Mario Bros, see if you can find some melodic transformations of it. Very cool stuff to kind of catch and transcribe out. Anyway, take care.